This is a special show. It is a special edition of Local Biz Now. It is a signature small business event of the year, but we're in the same Burner Cigar studio. So I wanted it to be special. Now, Bill knows the way I describe special is through flowers. When I told Justin that the other day, he laughed at me. The little boy laughed at me. You understand me? And so now he sees, and go ahead and admit it. You feel good, don't
No,
you?
no, 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 no.
You
I
feel
didn't,
good. Go
I didn't
ahead.
laugh about flowers. I have no problem with flowers. I wish I'd remembered every week to get my wife flowers, right? I wish I could. I wish I could. But you have like 26 sets of flowers, and that's the difference that I laughed at.
I wanted to make sure every camera view had at least a floral arrangement in the shot.
And see, I say it in jest because, Joe, you really do have a phenomenal mindset and perspective on business, given what you do in your day-to-day of being a business broker and transactions and all that stuff. One of the things that's important with all of the businesses you interact with, mental health. That has got to be one of, especially in today's day and age. Think about the world right now. That literally has to be on the front of everyone's mind, no pun intended.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. A lot of what I've done over the years with different businesses, trying to get people to take my vision and run with it, it starts with a conversation. It doesn't start with money, doesn't start with what I want. It starts with, can you imagine this? And if you like that, let me tell you how we're going to get there, right? And so for me, I feel that way when I have flowers, and the smell in the room, it feels good, by the way.
And they're pretty.
They're pretty.
And they're pretty.
Awesome. Speaking of pretty.
And as one salesman to another, I do get
it. Speaking of pretty, speaking of mindset, speaking of vision, speaking of one of my favorite people on the planet, Tracy Alston. I didn't have to say her name because everybody that knows me knows that I love Tracy Alston. Maximize the brain, empower the mind. That is Tracy. Tracy is the founder and owner of New Mentality PC and the founder of Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, a mental fitness service provider offering customized programs to optimize brain performance. She is a licensed clinical mental health counselor, a mental fitness consultant, a certified clinical trauma professional, and she's a board-certified biofeedback and neurofeedback by the Biofeedback Certification International Alliance, BCIA. Tracy is also a graduate of Wake Forest University, in Winston-Salem. Tracy earned a top academic honors and Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology. She attended Wake Forest on a full athletic scholarship, playing 4 years in the Atlantic Coast Conference as shooting guard and small forward on the Wake Forest women's basketball team during her basketball career. She also received the Distinguished All-ACC Defender Award. Almost done, Bill. She also holds a dual master's degree in community agency counseling with school licensure from Lenore Ryan University, where she also served as the assistant women's basketball coach. I could say more, Justin, but that's all the time I knew we were going to have.
I'm tired right now. I had a sandwich, and now you just read me my bedtime story, basically, because now I feel so at ease and comforted knowing we've got anything short of an expert or guru. That's it.
If you want to know it, she got it covered.
Well, and Tracy and I have only had like a couple chances to hang out, and this is going to be this. Now I'm going to do the salesman thing. We were chatting a lot and said, let's bring the show back because this stuff is so important. This stuff is so vital to life and community at a micro and macro level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tracy, you got to share the story you were telling me was just amazing. How you got into this? How did mental health start for you?
Yeah, well, first off, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I just love you. I really, really do. Anything that Joe's a part of, I want to be a part of. He got me started in this whole radio space. I'm his mentee.
Tracy, one of my mentees.
Yes. But as you guys have already said, my background as a licensed mental health professional, we have to do what's called continuing education credits each year. And I happened to be at a conference in 2010 that I can remember like yesterday. A veteran walked into the room as our guest speaker. He was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He was on 36 different medications, several suicide attempts. At the time when he was speaking to us, he was down to 5 medications, reintegrated back with his family, and his mission was to go around the world sharing the news of bio and neurofeedback. And so that was my first introduction. I remember sitting there because I had been doing counseling, traditional counseling, from that point forward. And I remember sitting across the couch from people who had tried several modalities of therapy, whether medication management, outpatient, inpatient, whatever they needed. And it seemed like oftentimes people were left short, feeling like this is not enough. I'm not doing enough. Something's failing. And when I heard his story, I'm like, oh my gosh, where is this? How do we learn it? What if we got more information about the organ that we're treating? Especially as a mental health clinician, I'm still blown away that oftentimes we're diagnosing, prescribing, and we've never looked at the organ that we're treating. Now, through technology and science, we can do what's called brain mapping and get an assessment of the brain and see how it's responding to stress. So we can see things like anxiety, stress, attention, focus, sleep quality, everything that the brain's responsible for. We can get that data and information in about 15 minutes and have a clear-cut picture of what this person is feeling and what we're identifying before we move on to prescribing treatments and or medications. So that's been a game changer for the work that I do. And not only did I learn about that from a clinical mental health perspective, as a former college athlete, I went on to learn that peak performers all across the country were using this technology for decades to gain their mental edge. They were looking at that. How do I optimize my brain? How do I stay sharp? And so that led me to opening up my second company, Mental Edge Fitness Solutions, where we're providing mental performance training and bio and neurofeedback to people that are wanting to stay sharp, remain sharp, and take care of their overall mental health and wellness.
Justin, you don't know anybody better than Tracy.
No, because it goes deeper. This is the thing; it goes deeper. So me, Tracy, there's something about me. There's two things I believe. Everything you read on the internet is true. That's number one. Right? No matter what you see out there, it is all true. But there are some. Also, there are some people that might be crazy, but that are right. Are you zapping my brain with this stuff when you talk about some brain things? Right. This is where I get nervous. Like,
Yes.
okay, I've seen the video of how Neuralink gets implanted. I
Yes.
don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. And the thing, go ahead, Justin.
No. I was going to say, you tell me.
Yes.
Please reassure me. Of my
I'm glad you brought that up because that is kind of one of the first questions. And that's what Joe asked when he first kind of heard. He's like, what are you doing in my brain? But no, it's non-invasive, which means there's nothing going inside of the brain. So if you guys have ever worn a device, a monitoring device that measures your heart rate, your skin temperature, how many steps you're taking.
the message, emails, text messages through the day, right? That
Yes,
just pops up on the
that
wrist.
says
That's-
breathe.
yes, yeah.
That's the natural feedback that you're getting from your body's natural rhythms that's giving you an alert that, hey, maybe you need to take a break. Biofeedback is the same tool. It's non-invasive. We're just measuring and monitoring the activity that's naturally occurring in your brain. With that data, we can learn how to retrain the brain when it's overworked, overwhelmed, overstressed. We can get you back down to a more calm, balanced, and relaxed state. So we train you based off of your natural feedback to get to your baseline and perform at your peak.
So, Justin, I don't know if you know this or not, but 11 years I've been doing this show. The one show that got me the most response, people were angry with me, was when I was arguing with Tracy over
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles. Because I said the girl just need to just suck it up and go jump. You know what I mean? And you described in great detail
Yeah.
that, Joe, this is real, right?
Yes.
This is a person, a peak athletic
professional,
person, a
yes.
professional that knew
Yes.
she absolutely was mentally not ready.
Absolutely.
And that took me months
Yeah.
to get right, to understand that old school feeling that I had. So I don't see a Band-Aid on it, so I don't know that it's really there.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Yes.
everybody else doesn't see
Yep.
that the scrape, the scar that is mentally there that makes me perform weak that day.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things. And one of my biggest missions is really to provide more insight on why mental health is just as important as physical health and just as important for us to really begin to train. You're exactly right. When people don't see it, you don't believe it. Is it really there? Absolutely, it's really there. When you think about the wear and tear on our physical body, so oftentimes if we think about it like that, it becomes more clear. When you think about if you go days, weeks, months, you haven't exercised, we've just eaten crap all the time, you're going to feel lower and sluggish. It might not be that day, but down the road, you may have a diagnosis of heart disease, diabetes, have a heart attack or stroke, something might pop up. That's kind of that check engine light. It didn't just happen overnight. You were wearing out those organs over time. Think about mental stress and fatigue in the same way. Every single day, each and every one of us is carrying a load that nobody else can manage for you. Whether you're dealing with things on social media, dealing with your day-to-day work, spouses, relationship, your job, performance, finances, whatever it may be, there's things that's building up over time. You might not know that your foggy brain and you're fatigued, you're overthinking, you're staying up at night, waking up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. That's your check engine light going off that, hey, whoa, maybe I need to slow my system down, get a little reset before it gets to a place where I'm now clinically diagnosed with something like anxiety, depression, trauma, and on and on and on. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. So my training and what I would like to be able to teach are preventative measures on how do we teach mental toughness and mental resilience. Because if we can train that organ just like we do our body, it's not about not allowing things to happen to us. It's about being more mentally equipped to handle the challenges that will come.
Tracy, I have a question, but Joe, your flower petals are falling all over my papers. But Tracy,
See what you started,
okay,
Justin.
okay.
See what you started.
COVID not only impacted business, it impacted people.
Yeah.
What age do you think was most impacted by COVID, and what do we do as business community leaders, as parents,
Yeah.
about that?
Great
I
question.
think that's such a great question. I think our teenagers and I think our elderly people, especially during that time, were the ones who probably felt some things the most. Because teenagers, for example, and our very young kids, because they really didn't have a sense of what it's like to not be able to go out and socialize with their friends. Like, that's a big world change that their brain is not even fully equipped. So your brain is not fully equipped until you're 25, 26, 27. So they don't even know how to begin to process. What do you mean isolation, shutdown? What does this mean for the rest of the world? I also say our elderly, because when you think about their only source of interaction, oftentimes if they're not around family members, if they're not around people that they were getting out with, that disconnect is big when it comes to our older age population and not having these people to depend on. So I would say our teenagers and our elderly population suffered the most. And now we're seeing a whole nother ball game of COVID people coming out of this thing. We're trying to get back into the swing of things.
So, Justin, as a younger business person, it took me time, right? I didn't just love Tracy overnight, you understand, right? It took some time for me
Why?
to get this.
What? Why
Well,
didn't you like her?
I
What's wrong with
wasn't
you?
sure- I
What's this
wasn't
dude's
sure.
problem?
You wasn't buying it.
What?
I wasn't sure this stuff was real,
Yeah.
you understand? What's she talking about?
She's helping you
Mental.
put on the mental boxing gloves,
Yeah.
bro. Come on, let's
love that,
get
Justin.
it.
So you get it. So you bought into all of this.
Well, that was
because it
my
took me
only
some
concern
time.
was, were you going to be zapping my brain? That's my only concern. You know, if you're reading me in real time, it actually kind of can create some scenarios that would be hysterical. That I don't know if I really need to know what I'm thinking in real time and how
Right.
it's really reacting with
Right.
my body. But what are then the exercises? How do you give me a little sample?
Yes.
What is it about? Is it about finding the right people? Talk to me about that.
So what we do when you come in for a session, you'll get your brain mapped. You kind of have like a little sensor cap on. It looks like a swimmer's cap. You'll do a 15-minute assessment with us where we're testing and measuring how well you can focus, how well you can relax. Once that's done, the training is simple. You literally come into our office. You get to pick out a Netflix movie or show. And the entire time you're watching a movie, getting feedback.
Oh, this is where it's dangerous. You can pick
yeah.
Netflix and just watch
You
and
can
see.
stream
What
Netflix.
show would you watch? Wait, no, Bill Russell. You're a Western fan, aren't you? You
I
love
am a Western fan.
What
All
you
right,
watching?
what you watching?
What you watching?
Well, I tell you what, I still say Tombstone is probably one of the best westerns ever in terms of a movie. But
It is
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah. So you just pick out your movie or show. We place those little sensors on your head, and you're going to get feedback the entire time. So if you're focused on your show, the screen's going to be bright. So you'll get immediate feedback that you're in that zone. Bill, if you're answering emails, thinking about something else, thinking about dinner that
that's me.
afternoon, the show's going to be dark, buddy.
yeah,
It's gonna
I'm
be-
ADD. I'm all over the damn
Yep,
place.
it's going to be a dark screen.
What about me? Because when
Joe- It's
gonna be a blank screen.
Joe's
I
going to
do.
blow the equipment up. We're going to have to get different equipment by the time he leaves the office.
Whoa. When I turn on a movie, it's to make me go to sleep.
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay.
Let's go back to the macro of it though. So
Yeah.
like what you're seeing overall from people, like the current state of mind, small business world, right? Like it's a grind right now.
It
Like
is.
if you're willing to keep the pedal to the metal all the way to the floor, you can right now.
Yeah.
You can. It's
Yeah.
like a time that never felt that way like you had to.
Yeah.
What's the consensus that you're seeing overall in the market?
That people need to learn how to block out some of the noise. I think spaces have gotten so loud with all of the attention and everything else. We're focused. A lot of people we see are kind of focused left and right and what everybody else is doing. You're exactly right. You can put your pedal to the metal, put your head down, lock in, and you can win. This is a time where we all can win. And so what I'm seeing is that if we can really create space where we become more self-aware and focused on what it is that I bring to the table, what it is my skill set is, how will I impact the world, everything else will take care of itself. There's room enough for everybody, right? And so consensus is we can definitely all win, but we have to be able to lock in and focus and block out the noise. And we train people to help tune out the noise.
Tracy, I try and block out Justin and Bill all the time. It's hard. It's really hard.
I'm just like this little nagging thing. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
But Joe, I want to say something about your flowers because
Yes,
I think
baby.
they're all beautiful.
they're falling all over the damn place.
But
Bill's-
this is great. This is
Stop.
great that we can see it. And so when you think about your mental health, it's something like this, tapping into all of your senses.
Make you feel good.
It makes you feel good. That's a quicker way to relieve stress. What you see, what you smell, what you can taste, what you can hear, what you can touch. Tap into all 5 of your senses anytime that you're stressed. That's a way to bring you down into the present moment. So what you're doing for us, you're centering attention. Justin noticed it right away.
Tracy, Bill, you're welcome.
Listen, yes.
You know how
Justin,
big
you're
his head is
welcome.
already, Tracy, okay? Hey, look here. There's a poster out there. It's like 7 feet tall in the lobby.
Right, this is perfect.
Hey, listen, before you go, because I know
Yes.
we're going to change you out,
Yes.
but basketball star, former
Yes.
life, I want to go back to that.
Yeah.
I watched more women's basketball this year. South
Yeah.
Carolina Gamecock women did a fantastic job, but Caitlin didn't elevate sports. She didn't do it all. Dawn Staley's team,
Yes.
you guys laid the groundwork. How does it feel having been a female basketball player at Wake Forest, now seeing your sport elevated to
Yes.
where you eclipsed the Final Four for the men?
Yes.
I mean, and NASCAR. I mean, everybody's watching the Final Four of the women.
That is amazing. What better time, like Justin saying, when you can put your pedal to the metal and win now. I wish I still had some years and can go get an NIL deal doing something like that, doing a sport that we love to do. Now women can get recognized for playing a competitive sport, being good at it, and really create a lifestyle, a career off of playing ball. I'm pumped.
I'm
so
happy for you.
thankful.
I'm happy
And
for you.
thankful.
both of those women that they
Yeah.
were showing this little
Yes.
combat, which is great, right? Because we
Yes.
do it with the guys.
Yes.
Got a chance to show their own character.
They
Right?
did. They did.
I loved it. I
Compete.
just, it's why I watched it.
Yes.
And you
That's
got
why we're in
Angel-
business. We can still compete. It's like a sport.
That's right.
It really
You
is.
got Angel and Carlotta playing on the same team now. That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
LSU and South Carolina together. That's good stuff.
That's amazing. I want to say, hey, Pops, and hey, Julie.
I love Pops.
You know he's
Pops, I
watching.
love you.
Shout out.
And everybody needs a Julie.
Everybody
Oh.
needs a Julie.
Yep.
That's absolutely correct. So thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tracy.
y'all so much.
Thanks
I
for hanging.
appreciate
It was
you
fun.
guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.